it's a nice high-energy song for a nice busy day, and good morning, everybody.
In the wake of yesterday's docking of Atlantis to the International Space Station, the heavy lifting begins, the highlight of which will be the unberthing and removal of the Raffaello multi-purpose logistics module from the cargo bay of Atlantis, and the movement of that MPLM, as it is known, the huge cargo carrier, over to be berthed on the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module of the International Space Station.
Houston on the underground 2.
Good morning, Fergie. How you doing?
Fantastic, Steve and Quancy. How you guys all doing this morning? Hey, special thanks to Heidi and her team for setting the cameras up for us. We're all ready to put this into work this morning.
Outstanding. We just finished complimenting her and her team, too, for the same thing. We've got it on our desks. Hey, one thing I wanted to tell you, when you see message 22 on the printer, you can throw that away. We'll have a updated version coming to you real soon.
Okay, message 22. We'll go look at it and throw it away.
Yeah, it's EVA stuff for tomorrow.
Copy.
Sandy Magnus, joined by pilot Doug Hurley at the cupola workstation aboard the International Space Station as they now begin to maneuver the Canadarm2 down for a grapple of the Raffaello multipurpose logistics module that you see housed in Atlantis' cargo bay. Raffaello is 21.6 feet long, 15 feet wide. Fully loaded, weighs about 12.5 tons. It is equipped and supplied by 9,403 pounds of cargo that will be transferred to the International Space Station over the course of the next several days. This is the fourth and final flight of Raffaello in support of International Space Station logistics. The first flight of Raffaello came aboard the shuttle Endeavour in April of 2001 on the STS-135 mission that delivered the Canadarm2 to the complex that you see moving in position to grapple the module as we speak. The second flight of Raffaello was also aboard Endeavour in December of 2001 on the STS-108 mission. Raffaello last flew on the return-to-flight mission of the shuttle Discovery, STS-114, in July of 2005. In all, this is the 12th mission of a multi-purpose logistics module to the International Space Station, the last of which came in the spring on the STS-133 mission of the shuttle Discovery, its final flight, when the Leonardo multipurpose logistics module was delivered and permanently installed on the nadir or Earth-facing port of the Unity module as a storage closet and a logistics depot. Again, Sandy Magnus and Doug Hurley at the controls of the Canadarm2 as it moves in to grapple the Raffaello multipurpose logistics module. And the robotics officer in the space station flight control room reports a good grapple at 4:16 a.m. Central Time. Canadarm2 with a firm grip on the Raffaello multipurpose logistics module.
And Atlantis is the station. You have a go for ROEU DMATE whenever you're ready for it.
Atlantis copies.
The acronym ROEU stands for Remotely Operated Electrical Umbilical. That's basically the power cord that has provided power for the multipurpose logistics module while in the payload bay. That will be rehooked up once again to Raffaello once it is berthed back in the payload bay at the end of the mission.
And Houston, Atlantis, we're starting the maneuver to unberth the MPLM.
We copy, Sandy. We're following.
And with kid gloves, Sandy Magnus at the controls of the station's robotic arm, beginning the process of unberthing Raffaello from Atlantis' cargo bay. Raffaello is approaching the low hover position over the payload bay of Atlantis, loaded with a year's worth of supplies for the International Space Station.
And Atlantis, the MPLM is unberthed. I don't know if you want to mess with the keel camera at all just to see if it's working, but if you manage to get it on, you can deactivate it.
Okay, we'll take care of that, thanks. Hey, Houston on 2, I'd like to turn the cameras over to our trusty agent Heidi for the rest of this procedure.
Heidi's got it for the cameras. Thank you, Fergie.
Well, thank you, folks.
You can see on the right of your screen the common berthing mechanism that will be the installation point for the Raffaello multipurpose logistics module. This from a payload bay camera on Atlantis looking at the International Space Station. On the top of your screen is the Japanese Kibo module attached to one side of the Harmony module. On the other side is the European Space Agency's Columbus laboratory. An inspection of that common berthing mechanism showed that it was clean and ready to accept the Raffaello logistics module, which will be carefully positioned and aligned so that it moves into a capture envelope for the beginning of the installation of the bolting of 16 bolts. There are 4 gangs of 4 bolts apiece that are driven first on computer command by the crew and then ultimately by the ground. The operations support officer in the space station flight control room monitoring this operation.
And Houston, station for the MCS inhibits on step 16 of the MPLM unberth and install. Just can you verify those are all in place?
Sandy, we can verify DSET's inhibited. Good call, thanks.
Okay, we're going to continue.
Station Houston on the big loop, no response required. We are entering the no exercise period because of the robotics operation.
And Houston and Atlantis, the verified premate's complete. We're on step 17, giving ourselves a go to maneuver to the ready to latch position.
And
And Station Houston on 2 for Fergie. We agree. You are now in NPLM ingress, and we're go for you to get into that. And on step 1.3, we see that the 24 minutes of intra-module ventilation has been completed, but you are still going to need your PPE.
So the ISS flight control team here inside Mission Control giving the crew the go-ahead to continue on with the opening of the multipurpose logistics module. They should be opening up the door here momentarily. The crew's going to have to wear some personal protective equipment, basically just masks and eye protection whenever they go in there. That is standard protocol anytime a module is opened up on board the International Space Station. As you can imagine, there's the chance that there's some dust or the debris that on the ground was a problem, but whenever you get up in space and it's weightless, all of that could start floating around and could interfere with the crew members. So they will wear some masks and some eye protection for a few minutes once they get inside the MPLM, and then once that environment is clear, they'll be able to take all that off. Sandy Magnus continuing to work there in the hatchway between the MPLM and the International Space Station. The official hatch opening time was 11:10 a.m. Central Time. It'll be 12:10 p.m. Eastern Time. So the crew now has full access to that entire cargo container, and as we mentioned, they will get these cargo transfer operations underway in earnest today. There's a live shot of Satoshi Furukawa, member of Expedition 28. He is currently inside the Destiny laboratory on board the International Space Station.
Okay, Satoshi, we understand your question. Let us check into it, and we'll get back to you.
Roger, thanks.
STS-135 pilot Doug Hurley there, along with Sandy Magnus, moving a fairly large-size heat exchanger through the station. As we've been talking about, there's quite a bit of equipment being moved from the MPLM into the station, but also quite a bit being moved from the station back into the MPLM, as well as Atlantis' middeck. So the crew is well underway getting all of these materials and supplies transferred from one carrier to another.
Airlock Houston, big loop for the mate bag. And I see you right there. I'm going to give it up to you. You are go to take off the bubble wrap, and you can you want to save that for later use. And if needed, you are also okay to temp remove the contamination bag. Once you've done your review of the hardware, we'll want you to put that right back on and tape it back up.
We will take you up on that, and you've got a camera on us to keep us honest.
We are watching you like a hawk.
Okay, and we see it. There's a few questions. We're about done with message 499er. And on the second page, 2 Foxtrot, talking about the EVA camera that I'll be carrying. It's associated with the Colt bag. I do plan to carry that all day. I did intentionally leave the RET in the Colt bag. In case it becomes a burden early on while I still have the Colt bag, I'll change my mind and dump it back in that crew lock bag. So that's the plan. And what I plan to do for translations is also attach an adjustable to it to help keep it secured up there, kind of tucked in behind the mini workstation.
Atlantis and Station Houston on the big loop with a mission status update.
Atlantis copies.
Station copies.
And guys, wanted to let you know that the MMT has voted and you are now officially a 13-day mission. They have added the extra day to your flight.
Hey, great news, Megan, from Atlanta. Thanks. I'm sure we'll fill it up in a very useful fashion for the station, folks. And that's great news from the station side as well. These guys have been outstanding house guests. We'd like they could stay as long as they want.
Well, we'll see what we can do about that. Also wanted to let you know that the official word has come through that no focus inspection is required. MMT tomorrow expects to clear our entry. There are no items of concern, but they're just working through their final analysis.
Hey, again, Houston, that's awesome news. Thanks so much.
Okay, and we saved the most important stuff to last for you. We do have some soccer updates for you. No scores. Just to let you know, July 13th will be the semifinals. That'll be France versus USA, and then Japan versus Sweden.
Cool, thanks. I heard that Japan had beat Germany. I was really shocked. I was curious who else had gone through. Thank you.
No problem. We'll try to keep the updates coming your way.